Hi, I write things. This is actually a really good question. So my understanding or the way I look at sociopathy versus psychopathy is a sociopath is they lack empathy, but they are typically much more impulsive and are likely to be recognized, meaning that they're likely to be more recognized by law enforcement and people in general as troublemakers or rule makers or a person that is very deviant. So, in other words, you can see a sociopath coming because they're typically known for the trouble that they cause or the deviance or their breaking the laws or just being a criminal. So that's someone who has gone to jail before, someone who has gotten some severe discipline or created an infraction. We all know that person, um, and have an understanding that this person is not typically a good person to be around because their behavior is so much more noticeable and well known versus a psychopath. And by the way, a sociopath may not necessarily be born with this. So a sociopath may have developed challenges around rule breaking and law breaking and committing crimes by hanging around a certain crowd. So an example of this would be like a juvenile that started hanging out with gangs, and so they developed that mentality as a juvenile hanging out with gangs. But when they were a kid, they were a sweet kid, no challenges there. But after their juvenile period, when they started hanging out with a gang, they began a life of crime. They transitioned into adulthood, basically an extension of how they were behaving already as a juvenile. Um, there is some research that suggests that after a certain age, a sociopath can uh, um, can change their behavior, so they can sort of age out of sociopathy as well. Where psychopathy, a person is typically born with it, and they don't ever change. But I think the most dangerous thing about psychopathy is in terms of, they're a criminal. They will commit crimes, but they will go undetected. And so that's typically the hallmark, is the fact that this person is able to infiltrate. An example of this would be, oh gosh, I can't think of the name, but the neighbor in The Lovely Bones who had abducted and assaulted the little girl, but he was the neighbor and everybody knew him as like this neighbor, but he went virtually undetected as being creepy. He was planting roses, and so people didn't know. He just seemed like a nice older guy in the movie that just played with his rose garden and built doll houses and things like that, but really he was a pedophile. So that's an example of someone that just sort of integrates into normal society, goes undetected, may appear to have friends, be married, and have a family, but really behind closed doors, this person lives a double life, and they're typically able to go undetected. I won't even say they walk the line of the law, but normally they go unnoticed for a period of time. But you would never see them coming, and that's the biggest difference. Hope that helps.